The UK will not rejoin the European Union even if the country was to hold another referendum, an expert has claimed. The European Union membership referendum was held more than 5 years ago, but there is still plenty of discussion as to what the result would be if the public were to vote again. And, an expert has now claimed that the UK would still choose to exit the EU after all this time. Dr. Joseph Downing, a fellow in nationalism at the London School of Economics, has claimed that pro-Leave stance has actually grown within the country since the COVID-19 pandemic began. Dr. Downing told Express.co.uk, "It's actually not true that if we had a vote again the UK would remain. I don't think it's ever been true and it's definitely not true now." However, the expert also pointed out that those who voted to leave the EU will have to face questions about a number of issues including worker shortages. Dr. Downing said that the leavers might have to rethink their stance on immigration, as worker shortages have, and will, affect the country. He said, "Many of those people who have voted to leave will have to face quite hard reality of the decision and will have to rethink their stance on migration when they see shortages of certain foods and increasing prices." Dr. Downing added, "They will now have to pay the cost." The research on the issue, however, is very interesting, according to the expert. He said, "What's interesting about the research on this subject is that people are actually okay with it. When you speak to voters who are anti-migration and tell them that your shopping prices will increase etc., they will say that they are fine with that." He continued, "For them the cultural questions about migration are more important and it's worth paying for that cost. They'll say, I will pay hundreds more for my food if it stops migration." Dr. Downing also warned that the UK is now in a very precarious position because of Priti Patel's rubbish stance on immigration. He said, "The immigration system that Priti Patel wants to put in place, which is loosely based on the Australian model, is all about points attracting the best and the brightest, highly skilled, and you have to earn over 35k a year, which is great. Britain does need those workers, but the economy in many ways actually needs more unskilled workers." Dr. Downing added, "Unskilled workers earn very little and that is what effectively keeps the prices down in the supermarkets. However, that's been totally neglected because of the xenophobia that the current Tory administration has, i.e. getting Brexit done effectively means cutting off that labour supply." He continued, "It's now left the UK in a very precarious position. It's not just farm workers, we're talking also about the hospitality sector, we're talking about HGV drives, the NHS. It's across the board. And, it's going to be very difficult for the current administration to come up with a coherent quality response that meets these economics." However, the expert added that the UK will never know the exact effect of Brexit because of the COVID pandemic. The data, according to Dr. Downing, is impossible to unpick as COVID-19 has had a much more devastating effect than even the hardest Brexit could ever have. The expert said, "It's going to be very hard to disentangle the Brexit discussion from ideology and facts. We are never going to have the facts. Any kind of disruption that emerges now, there is going to be a debate about it.